Hello, everyone. My name is Tim B. Green, and this is Crush It Club, episode 34. That's 34 videos in 34 days. Take two, since I took too long on the first part. The expert test. So this is mostly about how you test somebody who claims to be an expert, because there's a lot of people out there insistent that they're experts, but really light on evidence and proof. So, first of all, let's talk about confirmation bias and illusory correlation. There's a talk that was done by a TEDx talk done by Iona Schmidt or Schmitz. And she talks about why the correlation between ice cream and drowning proves that ice cream is dangerous. Of course, it's not. Hot weather causes people to go swimming. The more people that swim, the more people that drown, and the more people that eat ice cream. So they're not correlated, or sorry, they're correlated, but they're not causative. They're not causally linked. Now, she has another one later in the same talk, and that is self-esteem causes good grades. That's wrong. It's the wrong direction of causation. Self-esteem does not cause good grades. Good students who get good grades get self-esteem. So good grades and good achievement cause self-esteem. Self-esteem does not cause good grades. It causes arrogant, entitled, know-it-all little children of every age. And you can see that in anybody who was born in the era that was the belief in school, and has long since definitively not only been proven to be false, that it is in fact good grades cause good self-esteem is the correct direction of causation, but that those who were raised under that paradigm actually have lower self-esteem than those who were born previous to that. So treating everybody like they're awesome without them having to risk failure and actually achieve something legitimately have lower self-esteem than those who are allowed to fail. And in fact, that's how you get real confident. It's earned. You get confident about being able to do something well from doing something well. So here's three things that'll help you spot this shifty guy here and start thinking like a scientist in the background behind that. And that is, start with, now if this is you as thinking of calling yourself an expert, or they, the person you're listening to, calling themselves an expert, can you give a talk with 0 seconds notice? Can you do a talk right now about what you claim to be an expert in? You can have some flashcards with 1 to 3 keywords for each piece of the talk. So somebody hands you a deck of cards with the topic you're an expert in. Now, there's some interesting things that can happen here, but bottom line is, if you can't talk with 0 notice, with 0 preparation, you're not an expert. And if the person who you ask a question or you ask to talk about it with 0 notice needs time to prepare, maybe they have a specific talk they might need time to prepare. But if you got, just give us kind of an overall idea about this topic. And if they can't tell you, they are not an expert. And there's a whole bunch of people out there faking it. And if you know more than them, it's really easy to spot. If you don't, well, they're using big science words. They use some neuroscience words. They must be experts. No, just no, not the case, which is why I do this channel and why I'm so passionate about this. Next one is number 2 of the expert test, and that is that, can you find any credible academic papers that directly support their premise? This doesn't mean the New York Times. This doesn't mean Forbes. This doesn't mean Business Week. This doesn't mean any mass media, because I can give you an example. I did an article called, my last article on LinkedIn to date, the most recent, I think it was called Question All Science You Learn in the Media, because I give 2 or 3 specific examples of complete horseshit that most people believe is science around time management, Pomodoro, and 5217. Which you can check out there on the LinkedIn article. And then the next one is, now this is what you can do for them and they should do for themselves if they're legitimate experts who want to grow. And that is, seek disconfirming evidence. So instead of like confirmation bias, I'm going to find evidence to prove that I'm right. It's like, I'm going to go look for evidence or ask them questions to say, or seek information that proves they're wrong. And that's what Adam Grant talks about thinking like a scientist, is like, can you disprove your own hypothesis? Can you disprove their hypothesis? And if you can do that easily, so you do this either from your own knowledge, if you're more knowledgeable than the speaker about that topic, which isn't that high of a bar, believe me, or from outside sources. Can you disconfirm what they're saying and find out that Pomodoro 25-5 is nonsense? Not because of the rest and productive cycle, but because 25-5 is completely arbitrary and is not based on science. Next one is, and this is really telling because they can't fake it, especially in front of a crowd, and this pisses them off. Now, it shouldn't piss them off if they're actually experts. If they aren't, which all too many aren't, then they're not going to like this question at all. Not only because it's questioning them, but because they can't answer it, and it shows them for the con artists they're actually being. So the number one thing is, how do they respond to questions that challenge them? If they're hostile, that's a red flag. They may not like it. They just might be short-tempered. I'm pretty short-tempered, but when I know what I'm talking about, I might say, well, no, here's why that's not true, or I disagree with you, or I don't know. But only a threatened animal, including a threatened hairless ape like we are, gets really hostile when we feel threatened. Not when it's like, well, yeah, no, that's not really the way it works. Or let's talk about this after, because that's too big of a topic to do during this discussion. But if they freak out, if they get defensive, that's a high indication that they really don't know what they're talking about and they're just pretending to. And along the same lines, and the last part of this is, if you ask them a question, if you challenge them, and instead of being hostile, they welcome the question, they go, well, thank you for asking that question. That's really thoughtful. And you're right, it's seemingly contradictory, you know, it could be, I disagree with that research and we can talk about why, or let me tell you why, or it seems that way, but, and here's how those two seemingly contradictory things fit together. Okay, great. So if they welcome questions, especially challenging questions, and they give credible and hopefully non-conspiratorial answers, oh yeah, that's the fitness industry. They want you to eat high carb, bad, which is really not true, because if you look at the Blue Zone diet, the longest lived people in the world all eat high carb, low meat, high plant diets. But anyway, it's just another example. So if they cite conspiracy as the reason, that's not so good. If they cite something that seems credible, that challenges them, and they're still calm, that's a pretty good sign. Or they say this one, and oh my God, this is not one that fake experts will say. This is not one that people who they themselves, it's not just imposter syndrome. They know they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and they're just memorize some stuff to sound intelligent, to sound like an expert. Tim, what is the EQ of the encephalization quotient of a human versus a dolphin? Okay, here's my honest answer. I don't know. I'd have to look that up. I can tell you what EQ means, encephalization quotient, but I just don't know. An expert, when they don't know something, has every comfort in the world. And especially if they go, I don't know, let me get back to you. I don't know, that's a great question, but I just don't know the answer. That's the way experts talk about things they don't know, because they don't feel threatened. So that's it for how to test experts. Crush It Club, episode 34, The Expert Test. My name is Tim B. Green. Bye for now.